I won't go so far to say that I am a particular brand's fanboy. I just don't really believe in doing that. I mean, I can't help it if one company's got something that another company doesn't that makes it better in some areas than others. And my last few videos, as far as knives have all been Spyderco related. And I gotta say, really like Spyderco. I like everything they do. Their edge is just, I can't beat it. I can't find anyone else's edge that comes stock that sharp, unless it happens to be for my facial razors. However, I did decide to step out of the box a little bit and pick up a Benchmade, as the box says. This was an early birthday present from my wife, and so far I'm really liking it. So, introducing my full-size Griptilian. I picked this up last night, and I'm not going to do a full-on review. Well, here's how long it is, and here's the blade, and it's made of this steel. You can watch other videos, and most people can read. So you can read all about the specs. What I'm going to do is just give you kind of my first impressions and just the journey along the way, just like I did with my Sage 1 video. So upon pulling it out of the box last night, my first impression, again, once I got home, was just the grip. It's called the Griptilian, of course, and it's very comfortable. I chose to go with the full-size Griptilian because the Mini, we can see how squinched my hands are. This is about how the Mini was in my hands. I had to struggle to get my pinky on it, but with the full-size Griptilian, it fits nice and handily, much like my Sage 1 if I choke up all the way on the blade on the choil like this. Now, of course, the blade is longer, as we can see right here. Just put the Sage away. But that really doesn't deter me. I'm a small knife kind of guy, but I will carry the bigger knives if that's what's necessary. I also, upon getting home last night, figured out I really don't like the pocket clip. If we compare it, again, I'm not trying to compare here, guys, but this is just my personal preferences. I like the deeper pocket carry style, which is why I bought the Sage, as well as the extra clip from Mr. Lynch for my Delica to ride deeper. I now have a clip on its way from Benchmade to make this a more or less deep carry pocket clip, but yeah, I also really like the way the blade already feels. And I don't know if we can see this, but let me try and get this to focus here. They say the pivot is self-adjusting, and there is a little bit of room right there. If you heard that little click, it's just my pivot moving a little bit forward still. So it's still in the process of self-adjusting, but what can I say? I've had this knife for all of like a day now. So there we go. But so far, I really do like it. The edge did come very sharp from factory, although it's got a really small primary bevel that can be fixed on the sharp maker. So this is just the beginning stage of my review and impressions of my Benchmade full-size Griptilian. I purchased it from REI. Thank you, dividends. So until next time. So I have now had my Griptilian for about a week, and here it is. Oh, wait. Something's a little different here. Yes, my friend, you see correctly. This is the Mini-Griptilian. You know, I kind of like it. It's still just a little short. I know I showed you in my last video with the full size that the Mini was just a little short, and in a hammer grip like this, it's plenty long. But as soon as you actually switch it over to something more useful, where you've actually got your thumb up here for the jimping, it is just a smidgen short back here. Yeah, it's not quite like the Delica in that aspect, but the main reason I switched over from the full-size Griptilian to this one, the Mini, was my moral conscience on the inside was telling me, it's like, hey man, you know, that full-size is kind of against the law. Where I live, the knife laws are a little more strict in comparison to where I've lived before I moved out here, but yeah, I couldn't just hold on to the full size knowing what the laws would be in repercussion if something were to happen, and they were to try and charge me with some form of of weapons charged because I'm illegally possessing a weapon outside of my home. So I took it back to REI and I got the Mini, and so far, I've been pretty impressed. I do gotta say though that actually the action on it is really stiff. Like, there we go. I mean, and I've been playing with it a little bit. See, a partial failed deploy. There we go. But it'll take a little bit of time to break in, and a lot of that is just due because the blade is a lot lighter than the full size. So I know that'll kind of work itself out, but overall I really do like it. There was just a little bit of a side-to-side blade play. I did go ahead and tighten that out before I start the video, and I know that's contributing to part of the reason why the lockup is so stiff on it. But like I said, I'm sure this is going to work itself out. It did on my Delica. Of course, the Sage had no blade play, and the CRKT M2104, or yeah, 04 I believe it is, it had just a little bit as well too, and it all worked out. But as some of you probably noticed by now, I did change out the stock clip that Benchmade sends the Griptilians with. I don't like high riding knives. They draw too much attention. For more detail on that, go ahead and see my video I did about the custom Spyderco Delica clip that I put on my Delica from Mr. Lynch. But yeah, I went ahead and I contacted Benchmade, and they sent me a Contigo clip, and it's just, let me see if I can get nice and close onto that. Maybe. Here, let's try again. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's a very attractive clip. It's wearing pretty nicely. I've only used it for one day. I had it on the full size. There's just a little bit of a manufacturer defect up there or something. Doesn't bother me, but I really like it, and it does ride nice and deep. I mean, you're only going to have literally that much of the knife sticking out of your pocket, plus just this much that people see from the top. But yeah, overall, I really do like the knife a lot. It's a little short, like I said, and we'll see how time progresses, but I'm very impressed with the edge. The primary grind on it is it's pretty good, and the secondary is it's also very, very good. It's a partial flat grind, and Benchmade's just done a really good job with this knife, and as you can tell, let's see here. Yeah, hair popping sharp, as you can see right in there. So anyways, this is part 2 of my Benchmade Griptilian, now Mini-Griptilian video, so stay tuned for some more as far as the Benchmade Mini-Griptilian goes now. This is now my part 3 video of my now Mini-Griptilian that originally did start out as the full-size grip, and so far I gotta say I really like this blade. It's not my favorite blade. Sorry to all you Benchmade fans out there. The Sage still remains my favorite, and I like it the most. However, I will say that this one does receive more pocket time, and like I said, don't mistake that for this being my favorite blade. I'll do a comparison video here next, but I really do like this blade. It doesn't take up a whole lot of real estate in the pocket, at least this way, when we compare that to the Delica. The Delica does take up an awful lot of space this way in your pocket. However, it's still very thin, and I find that to be the same case with my Sage. So the Mini Grip isn't my favorite, but it's probably second in line. I kind of switch off a lot between carrying both of these, and the main reason I carry this one to work is I can afford to beat on this knife, and it's not like I'm replacing a $100 knife. It's only a $50 knife, so I don't feel quite as bad when I thrash on it. But overall, I really like this one. We moved again, as you can see from the backdrop that I'm now using. It's different than so far all the other ones, but this was my main carry during my moves, just to kind of test it out and whatnot. My main complaint in the beginning, as you saw earlier, was the amount of grip that you do and don't get. I mean, it's just when you actually hold it to do slicing, it's a little bit short. However, in the hammer grip, it's perfect, and this is the way I actually chopped up some boxes to make them fit in the recycle, since where I live, we have to recycle, so oh well for that. But it did very well. I really like the grind on it. From my knowledge and from my understanding, and definitely the way this feels, this is a flat grind, not a hollow. There's no there's no curvature in it. Flat grinds, of course, just make straight V's, while hollow grinds almost do more of that kind of motion where they sweep like that. But I really like the partial flat grind on this. It slices very well through cardboard, and actually, to be completely honest, it sliced through cardboard better than this guy. However, with food prep, I did feel it was lacking, and a little bit it's just because of the thickness of the blade. It just did very well. I also put this thing through some sharpening on the Sharp Maker, and I gotta say, it took an edge again very, very well, and it's exactly what I was expecting from a 154 cm from Benchmade. It's also holding the edge very well. It's been about a week, and I've already used this knife at work a lot as well. So this is my favorite locking mechanism, though. It definitely beats the lock back, and it's more fun to play with than a liner lock. I'm very impressed with it. If you don't have a Benchmade, or if you haven't played with one, and you're another brand's fanboy, you're truly missing out. The axis lock is very solid, and at first I was very concerned with the integrity of the springs in there, but being a month old, and yes, it's only a month old, but there's just been no change in the way that the axis works, and I like it an awful lot. I still gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of thumb studs. I notice if you try and pull this knife out of your pocket while sitting down, the thumb studs catch and they actually deploy the knife halfway. Not a big fan of that, but you know, that's something I can definitely learn to get over, and I like that a lot. The non-stock pocket clip is also doing very well, showing very minimal wear and tear on a little bit right there, as you can see, and a little bit more up here. But that says to be expected, since the knife, I'm a right-hand carrier, so it slips in my pocket this way, and this edge takes all of the abuse first before the backside of the clip does. So, but it's holding its paint quite well, and it's actually, the paint's holding on better than the stock clip on my friend's knives anyway. So I really like it, and I don't think I'll be changing it out again. Overall, I gotta say this, I really do enjoy this knife. It gets a lot of pocket time, and the main reason for that, it's, even though the Sage and the Mini-Grip do cost about the same amount of money, this is just a knife that I feel like I can beat on a little bit more. It's not quite as pretty since the Sage one's got the carbon fiber handles on it, but I do enjoy this one quite a bit, and this is my first Benchmade, but it definitely won't be my last, like I just said. So anyways, guys, I highly recommend this blade. I will be doing a comparison between these two probably next, and until then, this is Asian Kyle signing off, bringing you the Benchmade Mini-Griptilian.